Hey guys, I hope you all are doing great and having fantastic life. So today I'm back with another interesting lesson that will help you to learn speak English like a native. So if you have been struggling to learn speak English fluently and confidently using some boring English speaking lessons like learning about grammar rules, all these useless material, and still you can't speak English fluently and confidently. You want to improve your English speaking ability, you want to speak English effortlessly without thinking about it. So, well, I got you covered. So, well, let me tell you about myself. So, to be honest, I had spent one whole year with the boring English speaking lessons that were based on grammar rules, where I was taught about English grammar rules. And I was really obsessed with English grammar rules whenever I tried to speak English. And over the course of one year, I found that I wasn't able to speak English fluently and confidently. Then I thought that I needed to change my approach. Then eventually I found a method, a technique, and then I started practicing with that method. And over the course of 6 months, I became a fluent English speaker, a successful English speaker, and now I can speak English fluently and confidently without thinking about grammar rules. So, if you really want to achieve the fluency that you have ever wanted in your life, so you can use these lessons. So, these lessons have some steps that you need to follow. So, the very first step is that I will tell you a story, a portion of the story, and you need to listen to the story carefully. The next step is that when I tell you the story, the portion of the story, I will ask you some simple and very easy questions. So you need to pause the video and you need to answer those questions loudly and confidently. Don't be shy, be confident while using my lessons. And finally, the last step. So once you completed the story, the lesson, so you need to repeat the same process every single day for at least 7 days. Well, more is better if you want to. So these are some steps. And over the course of 6 months, you will see a dramatic improvement. However, it may vary upon you, like if you are a quick learner, so you may become a fluent English speaker within 3 to 4 months, or if you are a slow learner, so maybe you will take 6 months or maybe a little bit more than 6 months. But if I talk about myself, so I took almost 6 months and then I got improved, and still I do practice. It's almost 1 year that I've been practicing with these lessons, but still I do practice in order to further enhance my English speaking ability. So without any delay, let's dive straight into the lesson. Before we begin the speaking lesson, I would like to tell you about the vocabulary that you'll hear me use in today's lesson. So the first word in our list is spendthrift. A spendthrift is a person who spends a lot of money. For example, if I say John is a spendthrift, that means John is a person who spends a lot of money. The next word is leftovers. Leftovers are the food that have been remained uneaten while eating. For example, if I say there were no leftovers when he ate his meal, it means that when he ate his meal, there was no food remaining. Famished. If someone is famished, it means that the person is very hungry. For example, if I say I was famished, so I ate a lot of food, it means that when I was very hungry, So that time I ate a lot of food. Seafood. Seafood are food that belong to sea, such as fish, crab, etc. Two-story house. A two-story house is a house that has two floors. First floor, which is also called ground floor, and second floor. Now, it's time for our story then. There was a strong gorilla, and his name was David, and he worked as a waiter. Okay, so tell me, what was there? A gorilla. There was a gorilla. What type of gorilla was there? A strong gorilla. There was a strong gorilla. Was it a weak gorilla? No, it was not a weak gorilla. It was actually a very strong gorilla. And what was the gorilla's name? David. His name was David. And tell me this, what type of work did David do? Well, he was a waiter. Who was a waiter? David. David was a waiter. Was Filbert a waiter or was David a waiter? David. David was a waiter. And what was David? A gorilla. David was a gorilla. Well, David lived in an apartment, but he wanted to live in a place where he didn't need to pay on a monthly basis. So David decided to buy his own house. Okay, we got some more questions. So tell me, where did David live? He lived in an apartment. Did he live in a house? No, David did not live in a house. So, did he live in an apartment? Yes, that's right. He lived in an apartment. And what lived in the apartment? A gorilla. A gorilla lived in the apartment. Did a monkey live in the apartment? No, not a monkey. The monkey didn't live in an apartment. A gorilla lived in the apartment. Did the gorilla want to live in an apartment? No, the gorilla didn't want to live in an apartment. So, where did David the gorilla want to live? David wanted to live in such a place where he didn't need to pay on a monthly basis. So, what did he decide to do? He decided to buy his own house. And who decided to buy his own house? David. David decided to buy his own house. So, did David decide to buy a new house? Yes, he did. He decided to buy a new house. Why did David decide to buy a new house? Because he didn't want to pay on a monthly basis. That's why he decided to buy a new house. Well, David was a spendthrift, and it was very hard for him
to save money for buying a new house. Every day, David spent a lot of money on seafood because he loved to eat seafood. Okay, so tell me this. Did David spend a lot of money? Yes, he did. David was a spendthrift, which means that he spent a lot of money. Who was a spendthrift? David. David was a spendthrift. So, was it difficult for David to save money? Yes, it was very hard for him to save money. Why was it difficult for him to save money? It was difficult for him to save money because he was a spendthrift. On what did he spend a lot of money? On seafood. David spent a lot of money on seafood. Why did he spend a lot of money on seafood? Because he loved it. David spent a lot of money on seafood because he loved to eat seafood. When did he spend a lot of money on seafood? Well, every day. David spent a lot of money on seafood every day. Did he spend a lot of money on seafood every single day? Yes, that's right. David spent a lot of money on seafood every single day. And what did he want to save money for? He wanted to save money for buying a new house. Well, every time when David was famished, he bought a lot of seafood to eat, and he always picked out while he ate, and there were no leftovers after he had eaten his meal. Okay, so tell me, who was famished? David. David was famished. Was Bob famished or was David famished? David. He was famished. And what was famished? A gorilla. A gorilla was famished. Was the gorilla very hungry? Yes, the gorilla was famished. It means that he was very hungry. And who was very hungry? David. He was very hungry. Okay, so when David was famished, what did he buy? Well, when David was famished, he bought seafood. What would he do after he bought seafood? He would eat it. David would eat seafood after he bought it. Okay, so tell me this. Who always picked out while he ate? David the gorilla. David always picked out while he ate. So, did David eat a lot of food? Yes, that's right. David always picked out while he ate, which means that he always ate a lot of food. And were there any leftovers after he had eaten a meal? No, there were no leftovers after he had eaten a meal. Okay, so tell me, Was there any food remaining after David had eaten his meal? No, there were no leftovers, which means that there were no food remaining after he had eaten his meal. Well, David thought that if he had to buy a new house, he would have to stop eating a lot of food. So he stopped having lunch daily so that he could save some more money. Every day he saved $50, but when he stopped eating lunch, his savings had increased to $80. So, what did David think? He thought that if he had to buy a new house, he would have to stop eating a lot of food. Who thought to stop eating a lot of food? David. David thought to stop eating a lot of food. Why did he think of stopping to eat a lot of food? Because he wanted to buy a new house. David thought of stopping to eat a lot of food so he could save some more money to buy a new house. Why did he think of stopping to eat a lot of food? Because he wanted to buy a new house. David thought of stopping to eat a lot of food so he could save some more money to buy a new house. So, did he stop eating? Yes, he did. David stopped eating. What did he stop eating? He stopped eating food. What kind of food did he stop eating? He stopped eating seafood. Did he stop eating fast food? No, he didn't stop eating fast food. Actually, he stopped eating seafood. And which meal did he stop eating? He stopped eating his lunch. Why did he stop to have his lunch? He stopped to have his lunch so he could save some more money. So, did he not eat his lunch every day? Yes, that's right. He didn't eat his lunch every day. How much money did he save each day before he had stopped having his lunch? Well, he saved $50 each day. And who saved $50 every day? David. David saved $50 every day. And how much money did David save after he had stopped having his lunch? $80. David saved $80 after he had stopped having his lunch. Did he save $40 extra after he had stopped having his lunch? No, he didn't save $40 extra. Actually, he saved $30 extra after he had stopped to have his lunch. So, how much money did David save in total? Well, he totally saved $80. Did his savings increase from $50 to $70? No, his savings didn't increase from $50 to $70. So, Did his savings increase from $50 to $80? Yes, that's right. David's savings increased from $50 to $80. Well, after 2 years and 1 month, David had enough money to buy a new house and he bought a two-story house. Okay, so tell me this. After how long did David have enough money to buy a new house? After 2 years and 1 month, David had enough money to buy a new house after 2 years and 1 month. And for what did he have enough money to buy? Well, he had enough money for buying a new house. And who had enough money to buy a new house? David the gorilla. He had enough money to buy a new house. What kind of house did he buy? He bought a two-story house. Did David buy a three-story house? No, he didn't buy a three-story house. So, did he buy a single-story house? No, he didn't buy a single-story house. So tell me, what kind of house did David buy? Well, David bought a two-story house. So David bought a two-story house. After he bought a two-story house, he was so happy because he bought his own house. And that is the end of this story. See you next time. Till then, take care of yourself. Bye.